What's going on, moms and dads? We are live here, the Fade You podcast, at halftime of Sunday Night Football, recapping NFL Week 12. Matthew James here with Kmart with Chris Duke. We'll see if we get Joe. Joe's been spending the weekend in Twitter jail, so we want to ask him how that's going. Chris, the total of this Eagles-Packers game is 47 for the full game. The score at halftime is 27-20. Now, I'm not a math teacher, but 47 at halftime it's already on the full game total. Do you want to explain why you love this spot for a second half under?
Yeah, it's a Josh Applebaum. He's great. We follow him. He has the VSiN sports betting guide and all that. He loves when there's about a 20 to 20. I think it's over 20-point value. Obviously, that's like 3 touchdowns. So if, let's say, for instance, let's give the listeners an idea of, say, the second half is like 24. That would put the full game at what? 57, like 71. Minus 20 would be 51. That's 4 more than the original total. That would match that. That'd be 24 points more of value. That would match the system of the underplay. So, yeah, I'm on my phone because the wife is on the computer. I try to get on the computer, but you know how it is as married dads. Sometimes you have to, let the wife do the thing. But guess what? We've got red wine, and the Cox have won back-to-back weeks. Go Cogs! And I'm gonna log in and do the under right now, Matthew. And we almost got that Raiders under second half if they didn't break a 86-yard touchdown there.
Well, yeah, it goes to overtime. You had a similar spot earlier. And then the home run spot last night, Chris, I know we're focused on NFL, but the under and the Apple Cup, right? That was kind of when you see a high flying first half like that, you don't want to bet what you just saw. You want to go against that, and you want to go under in the second half. I'm seeing 23.5. Are you still playing it, even though you could get fucked if it's 24?
I'll play it if it's 19.5. Yeah.
All right, that answers my question. Perfect. Joe, you made it. We wanted to ask you before we get into some of these Week 12 results. How's Twitter jail, Dad?
What do you mean I made it? You said at halftime. It's not halftime yet. I fucking made it prior to the time we were planning. But yeah, Twitter jail sucks. It is horrible. I can't even log in right now. Haven't seen a single tweet for like the past 3 hours, so it's fine.
Beautiful. So, okay, let's get into some of these. Kmart, what would you like to overreact to today from today's results?
God. I mean, my only personal loss betting was on Atlanta, so I went running around, earlier today telling my wife I'm a god. So, that was fun. But sports wise, I don't know, probably the Dolphins, a little bit, just getting out 30-0. Then I think, they win 30-15, just kind of let off the brakes. But, team's scary. They look good on both sides of the ball. Joe and I texted a little bit after the game, on the line for next week. So I'm definitely curious what that's gonna look like and what the betting markets are gonna do. Niners struggle on offense again, even though Saints have a decent defense. So it should be a fun measuring stick for both teams.
Looks like they opened at 4 and it immediately within minutes went to 3.5.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was thinking. I saw 4 and I'm sure by tomorrow morning it's going to be 3. I was kind of tempted to take Dolphins +4 and then somehow get the Niners at like 3 minus 2.5 if I buy it, and try to win them both.
You touched on the Atlanta ending. Chris, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, that's
That's about as bad as it gets.
Yeah, me and my freck god nurse dad, Mr. and Nurse Anesthetist would be 4-0 if the Fighting Mariotas didn't get that tipped pass. But you know what, Matt, we talk about all the time. Looking at it right now on the halftime show, the lucky ass Jags ending. Shit. You're gonna get quarters that bounce heads and bounce tails. So it's the way it goes.
I mean, how many of those can we talk about today where it all flips on one goal line play or multiple goal line plays? I mean, the Saints had about 1,000 chances to get into the end zone today and couldn't come through for this dad. And I mean, Atlanta did it. You saw Jacksonville go down and get 7. You saw the Seahawks bettors were probably feeling pretty good, up 7, and then the Raiders tie it. The Raiders win in overtime. So, moral of the story is a lot of these do end up, as Chris Duke just said, being coin flips. Joe, you wanna point out anything you think people are going to overreact to from today's games?
I mean, not really. I mean, if my aunt had a cock, she'd be my uncle. So every game could be judged that way.
Yeah,
It happens. It happens, man. So that's the NFL. It really is. Just one place flips everything. So I don't know. Not a lot to say. I mean, we were all together for the late games. So not a lot to
Chris,
say.
is that why the pros will settle for 56% in the NFL? Shit like that?
Yeah, I mean, is there a game that we really like? You know, like that last week we had Cowboys win, 40-3. Was there really a game this week that kind of stands out like that? Not really.
Cincy?
Could be Cincy.
Cincy, we called the fuck out of that. Neil, where's Neil? Where's Keneal?
Yeah, but 21
your Titans, bitch.
16. I mean, that was like a squeaky win, but no.
But Chris, don't you think the narrative coming out of that one will be Bengals are Super Bowl contenders and they could go toe to toe with KC, and guess what they're going to do next week? Go toe to toe with KC.
Where are they playing and what's the spread?
I will tell you that Westgate opened it at 3. Chiefs -3 at Cincy. It's 3 even money though.
Wow. Well, I mean,
Circa actually opened 2.5.
The same could have been said about the Titans coming into this week. That was Neil's argument the whole time. Why are the Titans being disrespected? Why are they not? Why are the Bengals laying points on the road going into Tennessee, and then Tennessee comes out and loses? Yeah, it was a close game.
Bengals defense underrated, held them to 16 points.
Sorry, you blipped out for a second there.
I did?
Yeah.
Perfect. See you in 5
No, they're
years.
good. They're good. I mean, the Titans 344 yards is respectable, but only 16 points. I mean, the Bengals defense, if people haven't been paying attention, is very good. They lose who's the corner they lost a couple weeks ago for the season. But, I mean, against a team like Tennessee, that's not going to matter as much. Now, you got a different matchup with Kansas City wanting to throw the ball all over the place. We'll see if that shows up. That'll obviously be a game that we talk about on Wednesday. How about that Chiefs cover, Chris Duke? Lay it.
Well, real quick, that's what I was going to say, Matt, that's what we should discuss is lay the big number. Look at the Jets. Look at the Chiefs. Like, who gives a shit? Lay it with the faves.
Yeah, except on Thanksgiving, I guess, right?
But not the Rams or not the Chiefs. Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on the number you got, I guess.
Yeah.
Beware of laying the small number on the road. Ask Charger backers. Ask all those guys. So next week, I'm going to take a good look at Cincy because you want to be getting points when it's a tight game, dads.
Kyle, would it be a stretch to say that the Bengals might be on par with Kansas City? Would that be too much of an overreaction, do you think?
I mean, if they have Jamar Chase coming back next week, like I felt he could have maybe gone 50% this week, like 50% of the plays. But yeah, if they have them, I'd say it's a fairly even match team. And I think that's what the line's predicting, being at 3, especially in KC. So, we'll see.
In KC, I thought it's in Cincy.
Yeah,
no, it's at Cincy.
CEH, is on IR. So, Pacheco's a rookie. He looks good, but do you really want a rookie handling your workflow? So
Chiefs
that's going to be
-3 at Cincy.
Kyle, can you just let it that you said it's big cock to take the Cardinals today, and it worked out.
Oh yeah. I mean, those were probably two of my favorite plays: Cardinals and the Browns. I played money line on both of those and had action against my team just because no one wanted to bet them in the contest. I had a lot of fun gambling today, and that's why the contest is fun, but they're not really all my plays. I get maybe one in there too if I'm lucky.
Chris Duke, scum of all scum, Denver catching 8 going to Baltimore next week.
Oh my God.
Have to have it.
Do you have the balls to do that one? Because I honestly like it. I'm not gonna lie.
I think that might be an auto play.
That might be an auto play. Dude, it's gotta be up there.
If you truly bet poop and you are truly hazmat suit 23, you have to be on Denver next week.
It's a must.
That is the ugliest. That's the ugliest team in the league. I mean, they're probably uglier than Houston.
Yeah, they can't.
They got beat by Sam Darnold. It's fine. They got beat by one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Well, Darnold's a good character guy, so that's why,
Great character win.
Solid character.
Sam. He's a great person. Okay, what else? Yeah, Denver. Oh my God, that's bad. Chris, let's go back to the Cardinals real quick because this is interesting on games that are I guess 3 or 7. We're seeing teams with balls to go for 2 instead of tie the game and send it to overtime. We saw Peterson do it. We saw Brandon Staley, of all people, do it.
I was mad the Browns didn't do it.
The Browns didn't do it, and the Raiders didn't do it. Now, it ended up working out because both of those teams get the win in overtime. But I guess as a better, if you're thinking it's going to be a field goal game, right? Like in the old days, the Chargers would have just kicked the extra point, gone to overtime. Maybe they win by 3, and then or maybe they lose by 3 and bets are pushing. Now, instead, teams are going for 2. So if you've got that +3, is it now more appetizing with teams maybe going, games will land 1, games will, won't go, they'll avoid overtime, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and even in Joe's case, he was joking because of the over-under, but he was saying it too, like go for 2 because he had the hook. But Matt, you and I talked about it, on a few pods. We got screwed catching more than a field goal in overtime last year. So yeah, it's almost when the teams do it, they down 1, do we just say go for 2 that way you cover, your small spread, your 2, 3, 4 spreads. Yeah, and I couldn't believe when I saw Staley throw up the 2. I'm like, oh my God, they're doing it because that Cardinals might piss that away in overtime, but ended up getting the cover.
What other teams stand out from today's results? I mean, Seahawks have lost 2 straight now. Do you think people are going to maybe start to do that? Exactly just that. Say, okay, now they're coming back to that. That was a cute first half of the season, and now it's back to reality a little bit. You think people are going to maybe start to sell Seattle going forward?
I hope so. We can jump on them like we kind of wanted to. They just started off better than I thought, and now they're going to start hot and then take a shit. Where I thought it was going to be, they're going to be shit and then be competitive. So
look at
kind of done.
Let's just take a gander of this cover probability at the end of the game here. Look at this. That's for
that?
Raiders, Seahawks.
Wow.
that is unbelievable.
If that's not the NFL these days, I don't. Yeah,
looks like a fucking seismograph in 1989 in San Francisco.
That's Scott Hansen witching hour. Just what dreams are made from right there. How about the flip side how about the Raiders? So the Raiders have won back-to-back overtime games now on the road, and they are going to be hosting Brandon Staley go for 2 Chargers in a really interesting division game.
Home dogs.
Week. Yeah. Looks like it'll probably be under 3. I'm seeing 2.5.
I will make almost a guarantee here, Matthew. I'm not gonna say almost because that's kind of stupid, but I will say the Raiders will be in our contest next week. Unless there's massive movement towards the Raiders, then no. But as of right now, Raiders, it's going to be a tough task to not have the Las Vegas Raiders in our contest. Home division dog catching points. Love it. Raider cock will win outright next week.
Rams will be in that same boat. So both that, you talk about that Seahawks Raiders game today, the Seahawks off their overtime loss, they're going to go down to LA and play the DED Rams. Chris, your Rams catching 4.5 at home. How dead are they?
Kyle, are the Seahawks dead enough to take the Rams here or what?
Well, it's funny. I'm looking at our site, and that's the only game that doesn't have a line for next week,
dude.
So I'm just like,
oh, interesting.
Maybe
I love
take
Ram
the
cock
Rams.
next week. I'm not gonna
what
lie.
What did they say today that they don't know if or when Stafford's going to return this season? So could be a
Don't
bet
you
on
kind of
Rams
think at this
play.
point it's like what's the point? What are they?
Yeah, who
3
gives
and
a
9?
shit? Well, like at this point, I feel like if you're gonna bet the Rams, you're not betting on the offense to score. You're betting on the defense to be who they are, which they're healthy, right? Somewhat healthy. They can slow them down enough for the offense to score 2 touchdowns and cover that spread. Like that smells like a 17-14 game.
Yeah.
So I really like Rams going into next week right now. If it's 4.5, holy shit. Maybe it's a little baity at 4.5, but that's hot. Hopefully it gets to 5, which is a dead number because we don't like those.
Not to forget about the Thanksgiving games. So Buffalo, we talked about this one earlier when we were out, Joe. I think Buffalo's on a 1-4 ATS run, right? They don't cover as big favorites on Thanksgiving on the road, despite everybody talking about how road faves kill it on Thanksgiving. Apparently not. And so now they're going to be a road fave again in a division game on Thursday, again at New England. Do you think people are starting to do you think the public will ever be weary of laying it with Buffalo after all these non-covers?
Yes, because the Patriots are a very public team as well. Well, I guess people love to hate them.
I don't know if they are,
but
anymore.
everybody. Yeah, well, I don't know. I think they're trendy for an NFL team. They're not the Cowboys, but people in Massachusetts will fire the fuck out of the Patriots.
Well, of course they will, but I don't think
don't we have
to
fire the fuck out of 5.5?
Well,
dead number, right, Chris?
Laying 5.5.
No game plan 5. Don't worry, Dad.
Yeah, this might be division dog week with the Patriots.
Yeah, it's like there's a few.
Yeah.
There's a few for sure. I would see if there's any other ones. We talked about the NFC West.
5.
Oh, God. Here you go, Chris. What did we just see? We just saw Tampa Bay. We just saw New Orleans. We just saw New Orleans just shit themselves on the goal line. I mean, there's no poop left. They shit. It's all gone. They're going to go on the road on Monday Night Football at Tampa Bay. How much do you have to hate yourself to bet the Saints off a shutout on Monday Night Football at Tampa?
Road
it's hot too. Dude, this is division dog.
Did they finally start Jameis?
It's in.
No, they won't because they hate us. They hate everyone and they hate fun, so they won't start Jameis.
That's a contest play. It's in. Thank you, Matt.
Well, shout out Jameis 101 on Twitter. He said that they're not starting Jameis because his back is fucked still.
Yeah, I was going to say it's got to be like a rib injury that's going to kill him and puncture his lung or something.
Dude, division dogs, Giants plus 1.5. Hosting the Redskins, the Dickskins, the Neil Foreskins.
God, they got lucky again today, too.
Giants catching 1.5 at home. 2 teams, 2 barn burner teams here, 7-4 versus 7-5.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
The Commanders are dead. They've quit on revenge. Listen to the media. Okay, folks?
Holy shit. What a poopy week coming up. We got a really good. I mean, fuck. We got a really good week coming up here, guys, and
Yeah.
I won't even be around to talk about it.
Where are you gonna be?
Mazatlan. I'll be in Mexico.
Well, be
I was
safe,
like, I don't know
Joe.
where the fuck that is.
We won't have Joe on Wednesday's pod, and so we'll get his pick. And Dads, I think we're going to call it right there. We're going to go catch the third quarter of this game.
All right.
We'll be back on Wednesday for a full preview of Week 12. So good luck, everybody, for the rest of the night. For tomorrow night, we'll see everybody in a couple days. Chris, just remind everybody what happens when you bet on poop, like Kyle Allen and the Houston Texans, perhaps.
You might score 15, but that's not going to cover 12, Dads. Good work. I love you. Mazatlan, Mexico.